It is time you finally get to the bottom of this. Why does it seem like you keep attracting unavailable people no matter what you do? And actually, there could be so many reasons for that. We could sit here and talk about this all day long. But I really wanted to focus on something that is so important and sometimes it is extremely underlooked, and that is your Venus. Now, I know we all know about Venus. If you even remember, there used to be that commercial on the TV. When I grew up with this, I'm your Venus. Remember this song? Like I don't. It's so funny. I was a kid when it was body shaving commercial, and then it just stays in my head, which actually is crazy. It shows you the power of melody and music and songs. It just stays in my head. And back then I had no idea why are they talking about I'm your Venus. I was a kid. What did I know? And then everything makes sense because my love, Venus is, yes, I know in mainstream media we're quite used, most people are used to the idea, or I mean, well, not everyone, but at least those who are astrologically aware or curious, they hear about Venus because Venus is quite of a celebrity. And Venus has been the object of our admiration throughout literature, movies, songs, throughout generations. So this is nothing new. We mostly know that Venus is there behind love, beauty, and art, all of these things that make life worth living. Let's be for real. However, one thing I believe that many people don't know when it comes to your birth chart, Venus is extremely important. We use Venus to determine so many things, to help shed light on so many things, on so many aspects of our life. However, what you have to understand is that Venus is the sun is you. The sun is all about your business. It's all about you, your best interests, your identity, making sure that you showing up in the world in a very authentic way and helping you quote unquote live your best life. Venus is a little bit different. I'm not saying Venus is malefic. That's not what we're saying because in astrology, it's actually Venus is mostly seen as a benefactor, as the same way we see Jupiter as the the energy that comes to shower blessings and abundance on our life. Venus kind of has a similar view. We see it as good news. But I want people to understand that Venus, remember when I said the sun is all about your own representation? It's almost like you could see it as your lawyer representing you, representing your best interest. Venus also wants, is also a positive planet. Like there's no positive, negative per se. They all serve a purpose. But what I'm saying is that yes, it showers all those good things that we like. But Venus works differently. Venus is mostly about other people, how it's you attract other people into your life. So when we're trying to answer that question, why do you keep attracting emotionally unavailable people? We will, when I mean we, I mean astrologers will tend to spend a lot of time on your Venus, on your seventh house, not just your seventh house, but wherever your Venus is placed. Your seventh house is the house that is mostly related to relationship. However, when it comes to Venus, Venus doesn't have to be in the seventh house only to be telling a whole story. Wherever your Venus is in your house, it's going to help shedding a lot of light about why this pattern exists in your life. I'll give you an example. Remember when I said Venus is pretty much showing you the type of people that will be attracted to you. It's like the type of magnet that you have, and Venus goes out there and matches you with these people. So let me give you an example. If you have Venus, and this is one of my favorite ones because it's so obvious there. Venus in Pisces, let's say, let's say your Venus falls in the sign of Pisces. Again, it's very important to know what sign is your Venus in, what house does it fall in, because it will help us troubleshoot that aspect of your life. Again, as usual, like I always say all the time, if you want to book a reading with me, all my links are down below. And I recently updated my calendar, so check that out. Going back to the topic, we need to know where your Venus is. I'm saying that all the time. You can't be talking about, oh, I'm looking for my, my soulmate. I'm dating, etc., etc. If you don't really understand yourself and your own baggage and the type of shadow work you need to do, the type of inner work you need to do, the type of things you need to be aware of so that you avoid entanglements and toxic relationship your way. We need to know all of these things, right? There's a reason I believe that this knowledge has been made available to us. So going back to Venus in Pisces, if you have your Venus in Pisces, Venus is exalted in Pisces, meaning Venus is cozy in Pisces. Venus loves Pisces, and it makes sense. Venus is about beauty, love, and art. Venus also has a dark side, but we're not going to talk about this today. But Venus is about, we know Venus for all these good things, right? And Pisces being such a fluid, I know we're sick and tired of hearing that word, but Pisces is just a hard to describe sign. Honestly, as an astrologer, I observe how other astrologers present the signs, and I always find it interesting how people seem to be stumbling on Pisces. and, and maybe because it's the last sign of the zodiac, who knows? Perhaps it's because it's the only sign that is co-ruled by Neptune, and we know Neptune is spirituality, illusion, this world that we don't fully understand, and that is creating this deep illusion and this hard to finger point and fully explain and grasp Pisces. But I think that this is the best example to showcase what I'm trying to talk about today, because it shows the best example when you have Venus in your Pisces, right? Pisces being that fluid, that mutable sign, goes with the flow, the fish that is just can adapt anywhere pretty much. That's what mutable signs are. They're not fixed. They can be highly adaptable and highly changeable and adjust to the situation that they are. They're in a way chameleons, which I think is a great quality to have in life. And because of that receptivity and the empathy, the intuition, and then wanting to merge so deeply with the other, that deep emotional atmosphere, you can see why Venus likes it there. It's just the perfect home for Venus to just get itself comfortable, open up the baggage, the luggages, and start decorating the house. And instead of staying there for like a week, you end up extending your stay for a month, because Pisces can know how to enjoy life, and all about is very receptive to all of these, the slow living, the beauty of life, and romance, imagination. Venus likes it there. However, the problem is that because of the Pisces flavor, if you're not aware of that, you tend to, if you have Venus in your Pisces, you can attract, you like a magnet for dysfunctional people. Pisces is a water sign, right? And and there's so many thirsty people out there, and a lot of time I see the pattern. You can attract a lot of other unstable water sign. That could be Cancer's very famous pattern, very toxic pattern with Pisces. And then again, we're not blaming any sign. Any sign can be amazing, and any sign can be has a blind spot. And the goal is for us to always have awareness about that. That way we can elevate on top of those limitations. But this is a very common pattern, right? Having Venus in your in Pisces, in whichever house it is, which is gonna add another element. But having Venus in Pisces, you literally a magnet. You like a lighthouse. You are the fountain of love, of eternally flowing emotions and comfort, and people want that. So this is why, and a lot of time you need to be aware of that, and that could be a major reason why you're attracting unavailable people. And again, it doesn't have to be Venus in Pisces, because Venus in every sign is gonna have a shadow element that you have to be aware of. But the point is not finger pointing, this is bad, Pisces is bad. This is not the point. The point is for you to know what is yours, what are your blind spot. That way you can start working on it so you don't attract unavailable people, dysfunctional people, people that are just trying to connect to some sort of life support source without doing the inner work themselves. So I use this Venus in Pisces example because I thought it was such a great example. But this is how my goal with this episode is to show you how we are using astrology to troubleshoot your own personal life, and how astrology is something that is so personal, right? It's not just those random horoscope of the day that you often scratch your head and you're like, huh? And you feel even more unseen. But no, your birth chart is something that is so, it's just, I have such a fascination with this. It's just absolutely blows my mind how every single individual has their own birth chart, and it is literally your perfect guide in life. Again, I said that before and I'll say it again. As a kid, I was that very intense kid growing up. And again, that's no surprise because my entire life as I've had, well, the part of my life that I'm the most aware of, conscious part of my life, I've pretty much had Pluto transiting my first house. So of course I'm gonna be, and Pluto transiting your first house is deep, deep crisis, deep transformation, death and rebirth cycles. And no wonder why I was that 8-year-old kid looking at the sky, but like, what? Why are we here? What are all these stars about? And asking all these deep questions in my head, but having no one to share it all around, because again, these are very deep questions, deep existential questions that no one want to really, most people don't really want to like dive too deep into that. So of course, fast forward a few decades later, no wonder I have a podcast and I'm talking all day long. And the reason why I'm saying that is because as that 8-year-old kid, I used to always think, oh my goodness, they just sent us here on this planet and we have no idea what to do. And I was so destitute that we didn't have a mode d'emploi, like, like a user's manual. And then when I really started diving seriously into astrology, I went, oh my goodness, 8-year-old me would have been absolutely joyful, because no, we do have a mode d'emploi, we do have a user's manual. We're not here doing life blindly by ourselves. And once you start understanding that, it's just absolutely magical. So that's why I'm always driving it home. Please do yourself a favor. You need to be aware of what is going on in your own chart, and because it will help guide you through life. On that note, my love, I will see you in the next one. And as usual, like I said, all my booking links are down below if you wanted to feel compelled to book a reading with me and transit. We can also do consultation about whatever hardship you're going through in life right now, using spirituality and astrology to help guide you. On that note, my love, I'll see you in the next one. Keep shining bright like a diamond. Bye.